And welcome everyone to the Hit and Sit Conference USSSA podcast. I'm your host, David Siteman Garland from Siteman Pure, and this is the second of our, I'll call it two-part extravaganza, talking about the Major World Series. We've got the same panel back from episode number 13, now here for episode number 14. So it should look very familiar to you, so we're going to do a very quick rundown. We've got Mr. Jason Magnum, catcher for Monster, swings DeMarini. We've got Joel Sanchez, shortstop for SNE. We've got Leaf Nemo, our special guest, and now this is his second time panelist. He gets the 2-for-1, does marketing and plays for Anarchy. DW, all things media for conferenceusssa.com. I call him the Swami of softball. Well, welcome, gentlemen. We're going to hop right into this one because we've got a lot to cover. Big segments today on awards, and then we're also going to talk about some picks for the other tournaments that are going on here, the other world tournaments. Tune in to episode number 13 if you want to hear the picks for the major and kind of our rundown of that bracket as well. So we're just going to start it right away. We're going to start with a bombshell here, MVP and why. Okay, so MVP and why is the first question. I'm going to go to the Swami on this one because I'm sure he's going to have some data and interesting information and fun facts for us. So DW, why don't you kick us off here? Who is your Conference USSSA 2022 MVP?
Right. So USSSA awards each year. The commissioner of the league, Strojan Kennison, he picks a committee of people to decide the final awards, and he reaches out to the teams to get their input, what they think. But you can't always trust the team's input, right? Because say Magnum has an MVP year, but he says he's not coming back to the team. The coach might send in somebody else's name, right? So we start with their input, and then the committee goes from there. I'm not actually on the committee this year, so I can comment that I think it's already been picked, all these awards. But MVP usually comes from the winning team, meaning the number one team in points, which would mean Smash It Sports. Now, it doesn't have to come from that team, but traditionally it does. So I guess my pick it's got to be between Riley and Collins over there on Smash It. Did Collins win it last year? I think Riley wins it this year. He won it last year. Yeah, I think Riley wins it this year. I think if Daniel Caton from Monster had played an entire season, he would have got maybe more votes. He could be the MVP. I really don't know. But I guess it's Josh Riley.
All right, so going Josh Riley. All right, let's go over to you, Leaf. Welcome back here for your second episode in as many episodes.
Thank you.
Let's talk here. Who is your choice for MVP?
It was a slam dunk. I had it all made up, and then D-Dub with the stats said if Daniel Caton had played all year, I'm still going Daniel Caton, and I'll tell you why. Because he's on both sides of the ball. Tremendous athlete. He's hitting it at a tremendously high level, but he's even better defensively. And so regardless of whether he was here a whole year or three-quarter of a year, he is a difference maker on both sides of the ball. He is my MVP.
Okay, Daniel Caton is your choice. Mr. Joel Sanchez.
Yo, if you think anybody else other than Daniel Caton, I really would like for somebody to educate me. To come out of the slammer with a bunch of misfits, get to the 5-man, when, in my opinion, he's a much better shortstop, and they need a shortstop. And they have a bunch of 5-mans over there. He's like, nah, I got it. All the footwork, just smooth, like a hot comb over nappy-ass hair. Like, he's unbelievable out there. And then he just comes back hitting 800. And then he hits the ball down when he needs to. And then he could hit it out when he wants to, but he's like, nah, I got a bunch of dudes with a bunch of veins in his arm behind me. I got this bomb. And then he just... That dude should be the MVP, like, hands down. Like, I've never seen an Asian guy with a thick Southern accent with gray hair just mash it. I've never seen that ever in my life. So if it, like, on looks and just suave and rhythm and just everything put together, and he's just a cool ass cat. Like, he's awesome. Like, I'm a huge fan of that guy. That is the golden standard for infielders, especially shortstop.
All right, got it. So far we've got DW is going. What'd you go with? Did you say Josh Riley? Right, Josh Riley. And we've got 2 for Daniel Caton. And now let's go over to you, Mr. Jason Magnum. Who is your pick for 2022 Conference MVP?
Man, I'm going to go DC, Bama, Daniel Caton all day. Like everything they just said, he plays both sides of the ball, and he plays it better than anybody in the country. I told everybody before he came to our team that we ain't even got the best player in the country on our team yet, and we was going to be a real problem when he showed up. And he ain't disappointing. I mean, I could tell you so many stories about this dude. Like our first year on Resmondo, the ball hit him in the eye. I took a razor blade. I cut it. I opened his eye up for him. Like, the dude is a gamer. Regardless of all his skills, he has that dog in him. And a lot of people don't have that dog. A lot of people are real good and talented, but they don't have that dog. He has that dog in him. And I know there's honorable mentions, and probably like DW said, he usually goes to the number one team, so that would be Riley or AC. Hey, congratulations to either one of them. And honorable mention, Big John, man. Hell of a season for Big John over there at MPT. I know I picked them to finish outside the top 10 at the Major World Series, but it wasn't on purpose. But honorable mention to Big John, man. But I'm going to go DC all day.
All right, DC. I'm going to go a little bit outside the box of this one, and not knowing what DW just said before I thought about this, because I wasn't really privy to the whole number one team's going to most likely get it. And Daniel Caton is someone I'd certainly choose. So I'm just going to go with another person that might not mess up my next answer, which is offensive MVP. But I'm going to go with Tyler Irvine on this one for MVP, because I know it's kind of weird going with a first baseman too, because obviously we're looking at complete stats across the board. But man, the power numbers, the average, and also he's a very good defensive first baseman as well in terms of balls coming at him. So I think if you look at the person that's most valuable to their team, that's put them in a position to really succeed here in the postseason, I'm going with Tyler Irvine. So that's going to be my choice for it. And these were all very interesting choices. And by the way, if you're watching, listening to the show, you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, chime in. We want to hear your thoughts as well. Who's your MVP? Who's your offensive MVP, defensive MVP, all these things that we're going to go through. We want to hear your thoughts as well on that. So let's roll right along to offensive MVP and why. J Mags, let's go with you on this one. Who is your offensive MVP and why for 2022?
Well, I mean, if they split the batting champion and the offensive MVP up and give it to two different people, I'm going to go probably man, this is like a third-part triangle question. If Riley gets the MVP, I got DC getting the offensive MVP. If DC gets the MVP, give it to Tyler Irvine, and your batting champ is Brandon Streets. So any of those three in any combination, I'm okay with and I'm fine with. Also, Big John. Don't let me keep getting Big John. I think Big John hit 800 this year. You know, MPT finished third in the country, so Big John's in that running too. So any of them four, I'm perfectly okay with.
Okay, so you got some options there for offensive MVP. Joel, let's go to offensive MVP for you. Who's your pick?
That's exactly right, Mags. Like, it's crazy to think about what does offensive MVP even mean, because Streets is doing something outstanding. But what we forget about Streets is like, I saw him first play against me, and he went 6 for 6 in the 3-4 hole. Like, that's a giant man. He's bigger than how black his beard is. Like, it's unbelievable what that guy does. And now he's dropping bombs everywhere, and he's hitting over 800 for the whole season with Anarchy and A-Team. Irvine, you can clearly see 400 at-bats, leading in home runs and leading in RBIs. I got it. But his team clearly was just like, here you go, let's try to get that whole offensive stuff going in there. Yeah. So it would be weird if Tyler Irvine didn't get the offensive MVP, and I would only accept if Brandon Streets got the offensive, but I'm pretty sure it's Irvine.
Okay, so going with Tyler Irvine on that one. Leaf, who's your choice?
Well, I think anybody watching, listening is probably going to assume that I'm going to go with my guy, Brandon Streets, and I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to go with Brandon Streets. But first, I'm going to tell you, that kid, by the way, what you just mentioned, Joel, 6 for 6 backside. A lot of people are nitpicking at him for freewheeling this year. That's not the case. He played the game at a tremendously high rate this year. It wasn't until the last couple of tournaments that I freed him up. For a big man, you're hard pressed to find somebody with that kind of power that can play the game the way that he does. But I'm not even going to go with Irvine here. I'm going to actually get down to some statistical stuff, and I'm going to go with Irvine's teammate in Ryan Honeycutt, and I'll tell you why. Ryan Honeycutt had 390 plate appearances, hitting .751. But here's the most impressive stat of all that. Only one out of every 4 of those was a home run. So when you look at these high on base percentages and you break it down, most of these guys are, in the 3s on the home run frequency. So you got a lefty up there throwing the ball around who almost hit 400 times carrying that kind of average. That's what I'm looking for in an offensive MVP, a guy that can do it any kind of way. And to be on the same team with the home run and RBI guy, somebody's got to hit it down. And I pick Honeycutt here in the offensive MVP slot.
That's a good point.
Okay, that's an interesting one. DW, what's your take on offensive MVP?
Right. So the huge numbers out of Tyler Irvine, right? One of the highest RBI totals ever, one of the highest home run count, second highest home run count ever, 150 homers, 369 RBIs. He's definitely right there. My question maybe to the panel, when next time you guys talk on the show here, I think the batting title is the most prestigious award given. This maybe equal or maybe just a slight step under the MVP of the league. But we know the MVP of the league usually goes to the first place team. So I think people want to win the batting title. As a softball player, it's on base percentage. You want to be the best. And that's what softball is all about. So I think Streets already has the most prestigious award, the batting title. So I would either give offensive MVP to Irvine and Streets, or give it to Irvine.
Okay, so that's what you're going with there.
One more thing, David. Check out this stat in the league leaders. Runs per 7 innings if you as a batter hit every time for the whole game, right?
Right. It's like if you make all 21 outs or something, right?
90 runs per 7 innings. The next guy's in the 60s.
It's like video game stuff.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that stat actually really interesting too. I actually saw that one. That's basically if you batted every time and made all 21 outs, how many runs would you score? And I was expecting whatever that calculation is, but he was far and away beyond there. And and I know this is like the stereotypical or the easy answer, but just on my layout, I don't know how I don't give him offensive MVP. I mean, I maybe there's different rules against it, batting title, this or that. But if I'm going Tyler Irvine for MVP, I got to have Streets as offensive MVP. Otherwise, I feel like, to me, it's almost like I'm disrespecting what he did this year if he doesn't get something like that. And I think it's just an amazing testament. And I loved hearing on the last episode, if you guys go back and watch that, episode number 13, what Leaf was saying going into your last game. I mean, this was like a case, you saw this way back in the day with Major League Baseball. Do you know what I mean? Things like that. He could have sat out. He could have sat out and said, you know what, I'm done with my number. But it just goes to show you that, he did something what an MVP does, which is, hey, we're coming to play, and I'm going to play and try to help my team. So I'm going to go with Brandon Streets there for offensive MVP.
Side note, I don't know if he's eligible because we didn't make the major. DW, you could probably clarify that on these awards.
All tournament, you mean?
Well,
no, he's eligible for offensive.
Leaf was asking,
MVP.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, real quick around the room, is the on-base percentage more prestigious than offensive MVP?
I would say yes.
What do you guys think?
Joel, what do you think?
I would say yeah, because if you got on base more, because that means that you also drew walks, which is phenomenal for your offensive ability. So I would say yeah. Like if all you did was hit and you swung at the first pitch and you have barely any walks, it almost kind of looks selfish, It kind of like offensive means you drew it. Without you, the rest of the team probably would not win, So it's like a big thing for like the team wise, So
what do you think, Jason?
I agree.
Man, MVP is always the big daddy of all trophies in every sport association. So MVP means you're the best player on one of the best teams, if not the best team.
Hey, so, Jason, how about offensive MVP versus on-base percentage champion? Which one?
Oh, yeah, I would take I'd take the batting title over offensive MVP. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I agree with that as well, because what I also remember is that everyone can tell you that watches conference ball basically who won that batting title award. You can go back and be like, oh, yeah, it was Flip, and, you know, it was this and that. Very hard to sometimes remember who the offensive MVP was. Do you know what I mean? So I think that tells you everything you need to know about the quote-unquote prestige of an award like that. So, but now let's go to another side of the ball. We've been talking bombs. We've been talking runs. Now let's go defensive side. And we've got a great guy to start with this one, of course, the glove man himself, Joel Sanchez. Let's start with P and Y.
So, patterns and experience, right? For some reason, there's so much more turf out there now. For so much reason, it's really hard to still keep the dirt the same way it was early in the morning. And, you know, you got to keep your glove, you know, like you got to do your work, okay? I think it was 2019. I think it was the year false. I think it was 18. I believe Ryan McClanahan has been the only player that wasn't a major player to win the defensive MVP. I went back because I look at him now and I'm here like, he's got their short legs. He does have to die for everything. He does make everything look pretty good. So I did my research. That year, he was a pure, and he played 5-man, locked it down, no problem. Fastest, quickest hands in the West, no problem. Hands down, hands faster than lightning. But then, towards the 4th inning, they'd go to a 4-man, and he'd go to pitch, and you couldn't get anything by him. Boom, hats off, boom. You're defensive player of the year. The very next year, I saw for the first time Obi-Wan Daddy Kenobi, Mr. Benjamin Dunn. That man was a lightning bolt out there. Like, he was thunder, basically. Like, he was the white shadow. Like, you could not see him. And he was always there. He was always there. You might as well not have a right fielder or a left fielder. He might have hit, 400, 500 that year with the greatest Dan Smith of all time even. And then just locking it. It didn't matter what hole you tried to get it by him, snatched. And then last year they gave it to Andy Purcell. Barely could get out of the dugout. It's kind of discouraging because, like, I see all these great dudes, like, you know, my favorite, Heath Barnes. And then we mentioned the other one, Daniel Caton. The year before he took this year off, he was at shortstop, who he played 5-man with a great Bazat, right? Now, Bazat and Reyna, they're supposed to be, like, similar, right? And you have dude smooth. He can catch everything. He's, like, real fast. You know, you got Reyna. And then Bazat, he has average footwork, very average glove, very under average arm. But he's everywhere the ball is. And he gets you out every time. Every time, hands down. And so every time he won an award, I was like, all right, that makes perfect sense. So this year, Defensive Player of the Year, unfortunately, I would have to do my own little research because, like, everybody out there is just like, there hasn't been anyone that's, like, outstanding. Like, and then you want to give it to, like, some pitchers, which they need to make a Cy Young award for their own thing because pitchers, they're, like, slightly underappreciated in a way, if not overappreciated, like, in my sense. But there's not a defensive player out there that's, like, worthy of it because now you need to hit. There's a man named, what's his name? Fisher for Smash It. He won 2 defensive MVPs in the tournament, and they benched his ass. I think if he would have hit 100 points higher, that would be my defensive MVP right there.
Oh, all right. So you're taking no defensive MVP, basically. So, all right, got it. So, yeah. Joel's going with the even keel. We're going no defensive MVP. Leaf, who's your choice?
Well, I had it written down immediately, and I'm going to stick with my guns here. Although you bring up some very valid points. McClanahan is my defensive MVP. He's playing for the number 1 seeded team. I know that doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but you know, there's a saying: defense wins championships. That kid's a wizard. I've watched that guy play middle. I've watched him play every position on the field. I've even seen him play in center field on the stadium. You're not getting many balls by McClanahan. You hit it at him, you're out. You know, and it is the defensive MVP. So, you know, granted, whether they hit or not, you know, you live through the middle with your team. Pitcher, middle, center fielder. And if they hit a little less, then you're asking your guys to hit a little more because they're going to catch everything that's hit at them. You know, Ben Dunn is a guy that I lived with hitting 400 from the very beginning when he very first started coming up. I didn't care what he hit. And my philosophy was he's an 800 player because of the outs that he makes that nobody else can make in the outfield. And I don't care if he ever hits. He could go up there without a bat in his hand. I could care less. But McClanahan, by far, in my opinion, he's just that impact player. That's my defensive MVP for the year.
McClanahan. DW, who?
Yeah, so the year McClanahan won as a AA player, he did lock down the middle, and then when they were out of home runs, Mooch came out a pitcher, McClanahan went in a pitcher, and he shut teams down with his defense because they were hitting middle. It was one of the most impressive performances of all time defensively, almost like Matt Peso, if you remember him back in the day. Dunn, Bazat, Reyna are always talked about, and Bazat was injured, so he's coming off surgery, so he didn't play most of the year, so that kind of eliminates him. Reyna, Dunn, they've had very good years and deserve to be mentioned. Fisher won back-to-back defensive titles, MVPs, on 2 different weekends, one playing outfield, one playing middle infield. So he's a future defensive MVP once he's full-time.
Really good.
I'm giving it to Heath Barnes. We've talked about this before. Heath Barnes at shortstop for precision has the most range. He's had a phenomenal year, I think. And when a guy bats 700, the way he's done with power and leads the league in triples, maybe that just plays into more like he's even a better defensive player. So, but hands down, I think he's up there with a lot of great shortstops like Joel, probably going to be a future MVP at defense. But this year, I think it's Barnes.
Okay, so Heath Barnes, your choice. Got it. J Mags, defensive MVP.
Man, I wish you would have asked me before you asked DW, because I thought I was going to be the smartest man in the room. And, of course, DW always steals my thunder. I love McClanahan, man. If you pull the tape, I hit McClanahan when he was pitching that year. He couldn't even put a glove on him. Hit him so hard in the leg it made his nose bleed. And that's a fact. But I love McClanahan. I think he's great. He's one of the top 3 infielders all day long. And I sound like a broken record, but you tell me somebody plays better defense than Daniel Caton, and I want to see him. And Ben Dunn, Nemo will tell you, we started with Ben Dunn. I did, and Ben Dunn, he's been great. Hell, I was the one that made the phone call to get him on Reds to play center field. I said, I got this dude. He can't hit that good, but I'm telling you, there's no better center fielder in the game. And Ben Dunn's been the best center field in the game for the last 7, 8, 9 years. And I'm going to say this about another center fielder. He can easily be the defensive player of the year. Precision can have 2 defensive player of the years easy. Austin Andrews is unreal. His defense, I've never seen nothing like it, and I've seen Dunn this prime. The diving catches that Austin Andrews makes is highlights. And him and Heath Barnes, I love Heath Barnes. I think Heath Barnes or Austin Andrews could easily deserve the defensive player of the year.
Okay, every now and then they flip-flop. Every now and then you'll see Heath Barnes go to center, and you'll see Andrews.
I'm telling you right now, Heath Barnes could play center field and be top 3 center fielders in the game as soon as you put him out there.
So if you had to choose, who are you going with? If you had to go one,
I'm gonna go Bama.
Okay.
Yep.
Going Bama. All right. And darn it, now you messed up mine. Everyone messes up the person.
Yeah.
That's where I was going, and now I'm gonna stick with it too, because that was kind of my layout was Irvine, Streets, Bama, and truth be told, this year, I knew of the illustriousness of Bama and the reputation of Bama, and I didn't get to see it too much in person until this year, and actually got to watch it in person, and you really get to see a very special player there. You see when the hype and what people talk about is completely backed up. And so getting to watch him on both sides of the ball, but I figure he's got to be in here somewhere. You could intertwine some of these things. And so otherwise, I think it just would be not respectful to him, because I think he deserves one of these. So I'm going to go defensive MVP for me is Daniel Caton. So I will go with Bama for that. So we had a lot of different ones on that one. It's really interesting to hear. And again, for those of you watching, listening to the show with Facebook, YouTube, chime in. Who are your thoughts on it? Because now we're going to move into one that's a very interesting category, Rookie of the Year. Rookie of the Year. DW, there are, 9 million Rookie of the Year candidates.
Yeah, and I want to apologize.
What do you want to share with us about this?
Yeah, I want to apologize ahead of time for any rookies I leave off this list, because it would take hours to compile to make sure who all the rookies were. But you have Joe Bolin, third base from Competitive Edge. Donnie Walsh, who's played infield and outfield for MPT, came off a D team, went straight to major. Jacob Hoskins, a big lefty for S&E, really come on with the offensive numbers late in the season. Tyler Story, maybe the most pure power we've ever seen of a guy that came from C to major, like boom. Kyle Overstreet from MPT's had a nice year, again, from C or D to major like that. Mitchell Carriger, the pitcher for Hub's Pub, batted over 700 in the 2-hole, pitched that upset against Smash It Sports in Indianapolis. Zach Sanford from Chick-fil-A, Justin Ogletree, pitcher for Sports Reach. I'm not sure if Ogletree is a rookie or not. Robert Lundy from Seminoles, Danny Higa, the shortstop leadoff from Lund Mortgage, Zach Galeniak, catcher, first base, power hitter for Cornerstone. Then you got Josh Cardwell, Robert Lanham, Jacob Jalbert from Cut 4 and Epic. These guys have put up huge power numbers. They look older, but I don't think they're that old. They just never played conference before. Brandon Keene from your Sightman and Kyle Getty. I don't know how to spell it.
Both, but I'm completely wrong.
Could be Goth from Straight Play. Had a big year offensively. So go ahead, guys. And if you think of someone else, I'm not. We had Juan Castaneda, shortstop from Classic Glass, was a top guy. Your third baseman over there, Robinson from S&E, I thought he had the early lock on Rookie of the Year, and then he faded a little bit, and then he came back stronger at the end. So what do you guys think?
Lots of different ways this could go, because there's a lot of good options, and it's also interesting to watch because you have the different levels within the conference there that could cause some different insights. So let's start with Leaf. Let's go with you with this one. Someone gets the benefit and curse of going first. So we'll go with Leaf. What's your thoughts here on Rookie of the Year and why?
Well, I would like to first ask, DW, are these awards held to the standard of the minimum plate appearances, or is it just across the board, right? Because Barnes, we just mentioned, I just doing some research. He's only got 179 plate appearances. It'd be a shame for him not to qualify, huh?
80 career plate appearances is if you are over 80 career plate appearances, you're no longer considered a rookie.
Gotcha. Well, I was just talking about the mentioning of the offensive, defensive stuff. But anyways, my pick for Rookie of the Year is Joe Bolin. And before I get into why, this is the only sport where you can be a 40-year-old rookie. And maybe Joe Bolin's a Dominican and he's probably 47. I don't know. But let me tell you something about Jobo, as they call him. That dude's a ball player, and he absolutely rakes, and not just one side of the field or the other. He hits some of the hardest backside stuff I've ever seen anybody hit. He's very, very good at third base, and he's a very tough out. And to have 300-plus plate appearances and an on-base percentage of 741, he's right up there with all the big names in the, top 16 there in on-base percentage. That's pretty rare company to be doing as a rookie at this level. So my pick for the Rookie of the Year is Jobo.
All right, going Jobo. Okay. Joel, who's your pick and why?
So that's a good point you have on Joe Bolin there, Leaf. That's a good point. At first, we also got to take into account the word rookie, right? You keep forgetting what it is to just get into the conference, right? You've been playing with your boys for so long, and then somebody that we all know is like, a big wig somewhere, and then it's like, hey, you want to go play A? And you're like, what does that mean? What have I been playing? E? I don't know what that means. You just want me to go play softball? Yeah, let's do that. But like, and then you get up here and you're like, everyone takes this really seriously. Like, I can't believe what's going on up here. Like, that, you want to pay me? What? Like, it's bananas. It's unbelievable. Everything's up and down. You know, exactly. And so I'm going to go with my boy Jacob Hoskins. And because, like, him and Jordan, looking at rookies, like, it really makes me feel like I'm only a couple of years in. Like, my rookie year is still like in my rearview mirror. And, like, it's one of those things where, like, we were up and then we were down for, like, the whole season, bro. And they stayed true to themselves and they really fought through. And, like, Hoskins, big lefty, and he likes his, like, I told him, I'm like, yo, you want to swing the D? And he's like, nah, I got it. He went on with Proton. And he goes up there, and he's a something to reckon with, like, every single time. And my other rookie, Jordan, we had him at third. I think he's made legitimately one error all year at third, like just one. Every time it's hit to him, and he still impresses me. It's caught, you're out by a mile. There are some balls that he stole from me at shortstop. At first, I was upset, and then he got the guy out by a mile, and I'm here like, please keep doing that. That'd be nice. So it's just like, but I'm, and then on top of that, Overstreet, he's been knocking out some cannons with that bat, and that Joe Boland, like it's awesome. It's awesome what he's doing, because that team itself, let's say he wasn't there, like they still be kicking all that ass, like with or without him. But he's up there with the big dogs, like really letting them have it and showing them that he could play up there. So, and then David, your boy up there in Hub's Pub, yo, that lefty pitcher, he's not messing around, bro. He's not. He is part of the not messing around crew. Like, he's there to whack it, and he's gonna throw you, something dirty right behind the plate. So I'm gonna go with my boy Jacob Hoskins up.
Jacob Hoskins is your choice. Got it. J Mags.
Man, I'm gonna go with Boland. We played them a lot this year, and I've seen them a bunch. And I mean, the dude, like everybody said, I ain't gotta say no more because everybody said it. But the dude, he whacks it, he catches it. I didn't know he was that old, so even more respect to him. Yeah, Boland's gonna be my pick.
All right, Jobo. DW.
Yeah, I'm picking Boland as well. I didn't realize he was that old.
For the record, I don't know how old he is. I was just guessing.
Hell.
He did have 68.
I feel like he's not that old, and I'm gonna now have to go figure this out here on my.
Man,
I believe he had 68 at bats last year, so he is under the 80 minimum.
Okay,
damn, Nemo, you said that man looks 50 years old, dude.
He does. He does.
I'm gonna have it figured out here in a second. I can tell.
As somebody that's knocking on 50, I can say that.
He does.
But yeah, I mean, DW, when looking at the list too, I mean, I've seen every single one of these players play this year, and there's just a lot of good talent here coming up. I appreciate you adding.
You could make a double-A team out of these rookies, and they would compete.
Yeah, Joe Boland, by the way, is 28.
28.
Oh, he's lived a hard life on him, boy.
Yeah,
that
so
man's
we're
lived
about
a
ready to
hard life.
send him to senior ball here on the Hit and Sit podcast, but he is 28.
That's his Dominican profile. Get out of here.
Going on 49. Going on 49. And he looks like candidates, meaning he's bulked up. So
that's hilarious.
Monster of a man. And
Yes, he is.
I'm going with him. That's got to be my pick too. Because I think it's, to me, pretty kind of obvious in this category that he sticks out among a lot of very, very good players. I appreciate you mentioning also Brandon Keene from our team, who quietly had 717 this year with way over 100 plate appearances. So it's a guy that has done a great job. And there's a lot of other just really good players on this list, but got to go with Joe Bo is my pick as well. So we'll hear more. We're going to have, maybe he'll send his birth certificate into the show. We'll choose that for a different episode. Meantime, let's move on here to go a different route. We're going to talk about older people now. Managers. So we kind of have this category of first-team manager and second-team manager of the year in a while. Let's just lump those together. And actually, I'll tell you what we're going to do here also. We're going to have 3 questions at once. We're going to have the first-team manager, second-team manager, if you're that privy on managers, and also umpire of the year and why. Umpire of the year and why. So the unsung folks here of the conference. Team managers, umpires of the year. All right, so I'll give you a quick second to think about that one. Let's see. I'll have DW not ruin it for everyone because you're going to have some kind of really good insight that's going to mess it up. So we're going to start with Mr. Jason Magnum. Let's go with you here. Let's kick it off. Manager and umpire.
Man, I got to go Sonny Pilcher, man. He took a team that they didn't think we was going to make it through the whole year, and we've been in second. So I'm going to go Sonny Pilcher and Stevie Hildebrand. And my umpire of the year, I'm impressed with Johnny Jackson or Bruce or Anthony Champion. I think all three of those have been great. So those are I'm not going to pick just one, but I'm going to go Johnny, Bruce, or Anthony Champion.
All right. Good choices. I like it. Concise and on the point with that. Leaf, who are you going with for manager and umpire?
Let me start off with the manager of the year here. And I was doing some recon, and I pulled up the monster team, and it shows Andy Vitkak as the manager of the year. And I said, well, there's no way he's the manager. So, and I can't give it to Sonny because he wears Crocs. I can't give it to Sonny because he wears Crocs. So I'm going to go with my boy Hildebrand, Steve Hildebrand for manager of the year. The second team manager of the year, I'm going to go with Brandon Miller, and I'll tell you why. Because, anybody my daughter could coach that team over there to a win, but he's done a good job of keeping the train rolling over there at Competitive Edge. My umpire of the year is Slim. Slim was thirsty the other weekend in Utah. It was hot. It was a mess. He come over to my dugout to ask for a bottle of water, and I handed him the bottle of water, and I held on to that bottle of water as he grabbed it, and I said, if I don't swing, it ain't a strike. And he said, oh, okay. So he goes back, gets behind the plate. Very next pitch comes across the plate. Slam, yep. And I turn around and I look at him, and I said, we just had this conversation. He goes, you know what? We sure did. He started laughing. I started laughing, and I went back up there, got a hit. But Slim is one of the most consistent umpires you're going to find. Slim has also run me up in the stadium. My last at bat a couple years ago. I love Slim's game. I love what he brings to the table. There's a lot of good umpires out there. Let me just go out on a ledge here and say that we need to do more for those umpires. We can't have the conference and the level of ball that we have without those guys, and we need to do more. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how we go about that, but those umpires are overworked and underpaid, in my opinion, and we need to do more.
It is a thankless job, to say the least, my friend. It is a tough one. And I appreciate you sharing that insight for sure. I agree with you. Joel, manager and umpire.
I'm gonna go with Miller's with a Competitive Edge, right?
Yep.
Correct. Yeah, I'm gonna go with him because I told Tyler the other day, the last time we saw him, he was on here. I go, man, this year you guys are killing it. Every year before this year, we were really excited to play you. Not this year. Like whatever he did from last year to this year, however he made this team this year, he did a great job because before this year, man, couldn't wait to play some Competitive Edge. But now they're on their up and up and they're ready to kill it, and it seems like they figured it out. Usually it's for umpires. Slim is him and Rob Mantlo. They have these qualities where Slim, you just don't want to mess with. And then Rob cares so little about what you say about him that he lets you know with his face. Because he was also Marine. So he'll let you know. He's like, it's right down the middle. You struck out. Like that. He'll let you know. And right there, you need to create an aura or like an energy or something, because it's just major dudes. Let's just be real. There's not one AA under. Like, yeah, you'll chirp a little bit, like, oh, that was bad, and then that's it. It ends right there. It's just a major dudes trying to bully all the umpires put together, like every single time. Sure enough, there's one more. His name is Daryl Rowe. Another giant. He's just there, and he's real quiet. And me and him, we had a chat. He works senior nights, like senior ball leagues, league ball leagues, co-ed leagues, and he does military as well. So I see him all the way around because he wants to perfect his craft on the strike zone and where he needs to be and what. And it confuses me because we do need to work that. Leaf, I'm with you 100%. We do need to do a little more for these umpires because, like, Yo, if you really think about it, that job is insanely hard. You are the ex-husband by a lot. You're always wrong and everybody hates you. Always.
Yep.
Like, it's awful. And then on top of that, it's one of those situations where he's had to explain to me, and he's been so good, and we've had such good umpires that I went into a tournament and I was ready, and the guy's pump faking, and then I called time, and then nothing happened, and then I struck out, and I called time. It's like, once the guy's in motion, you're not allowed to call time. Usually, the conference umpires, they count to 5, and they'll be like, that's a ball, that's 5 seconds, but the guy went on for so long, I thought you could call time in the middle. They're so good that I forget about some rules. So it's just like, it's one of those things. So I'm gonna go with Daryl Rowe, only because like he's the one with the least amount of experience, and he's been just killing it, and he works at his craft as hard as I do,
Yeah, umping is tough because think about it this way: you're either on any call, really, you're pissing off 50% of the people, right, no matter what, or 100% of the people. If both teams agree with it, very rarely 0%. So it's not. It's a.
You know how many times I have had to chat with most field umpires, and we always hear tie goes to the runner. That's actually wrong.
Yeah, I've heard this too, actually.
If the runner does not beat the throw, he needs to beat the throw. And that blew my mind. And I was just like, so what are you watching? You watching the hip? You watching the foot? You watching the ball? What do you watch? You only got 2 eyes and they're both looking at the same thing. So it's just like, it's what? Oh, that's hard. That's hard.
Who's your second manager of the year, Joel?
My second manager of the year?
Yeah, you missed that one.
Stevie. We'll go Stevie Hildebrand, because we all just love Stevie. I love me some Stevie Hildebrand. I could just, man, Joe Whale, man, let me tell you something, man. You're killing it down there. You're going to come up here.
But by the way,
he calls me up all the time. We're like, I just love him. He always makes the vibe so much easier.
Yeah, on the umpire, real quick here, I'll get my thoughts, and then DW can wrap up this segment. But I was saying also, it'll be interesting to see because there's so many nuanced rules too, right? And we forget about these rules. Look at the major last year. Chaos on the tag up and the thing and this. Like, softball's been going on for a long time here. We still are having debates on rules, and we will be interesting to see if anything's a factor this year in the major. Hopefully it's not. Right? I think every umpire would love to tell you that they would love to be non-existent, right, in these situations. So really quickly, my pick, I'll go backwards. So umpire of the year, a lot of good ones. I've gotten to meet a lot of good ones this year. I think Marshall Grissom does a great job. Got to go with him. Jason also does a great job. What I like particularly about him, and this is not against anyone else because I've gotten to meet a lot of great umpires this year, but is that I feel like they're really good at creating rapport sponsors of the teams as well, so that everyone you get on a good page and not in some kind of just situation or anything weird like that. And I think they call great games, and so I'm going to go with them. My first team manager of the year is actually someone you guys did choose, and my second is someone you guys did not. The person I choose for first, I have to go with Brandon Miller as well. While I think it was Jay Maggs or someone mentioned, yeah, it's easy to sometimes coach that talent level. Sometimes not. At all, because you got a lot of egos, you got a lot of people, you got a lot of different personalities on that competitive edge team, and they've kept it together. And I had about an hour conversation with Brandon on the Siteman Softball podcast to go even more in depth, and just they do a lot of things for their guys. Like, they really are doing things the right way, and they have a good family there. So I got to go with Brandon Miller on that, because that mixed with the on-field performance. And then someone I feel like that's forgotten about is that someone that was on this show many moons ago this year was Mr. John Natoli from Chick-fil-A. I'm going to go for my second one here because people forget they basically mopped up every tournament that they could go in that didn't have like a major team per se. They won at least, I believe, 3 majors this year with Chick-fil-A. They've got themselves in a good position at whether the 6th seed for the Major World Series. And so I have to give him props, and they run another first-class organization over there. There's a lot of other people that are deserving of it, but I'm going to go with those. DW, who are you going with?
Yeah, I'm going with Sonny for first-team manager. I'm sure he gets a lot of input from Steve Hildebrand and Sonny Amcharan and maybe Vitzak and some of the players. But to take all that and have success in your first year, I guess he's the guy that makes the final decisions. Magnum could tell me if I'm wrong, but I would give it to Sonny Pilcher for first team. Second team, absolutely, you got the Brandon Millers, you got the John Natalie's who do a lot of work. I would actually give Brandon Miller General Manager of the Year. He does a good job with the game as well, but putting that team together over the last 2 years is impressive. But I'm giving second team to Marcus Fry from Rock Run. With all the upsets they did, they basically have the statistics of a AA team when you look at their win-loss and who they beat. And he or whoever's making a lineup, I believe it's Marcus Fry is making a lineup, he has his pulse on that team, because there's guys that go from leadoff to seventh to second to fourth to seventh. Like, he's pulling all the right strings with the lineup for that team. And then Umpire of the Year, Slim's a great umpire, but he did more UIC this year. He didn't get on the field that much, so I'm giving it to Mark Dallenbach would be my pick from Minnesota.
Okay, so it was interesting in this category. Some things were super unanimous that we've talked about, right? Some things are not. There was nice to hear a lot of different names in this category as well, so really interesting to hear about that. And of course, just want to hear your guys' insights as well in the comments section, which brings us now to our final segment of the show, which is picks in the other divisions coming up here for the world tournaments. Okay, so we've got men's B, A, AA, and we've got the women's Major World Series. Now, for picks on the Major World Series, go back to the last episode number 13. We went way in depth, and all 5 of us predicted in that one. So we'll stay away from that. But we're going to go into B, AA, A, Women's Major World Series. We'll go around the room here. Let's start with. Let's see who's going to get the benefit of starting here. You know what? I'm going to go with you, DW, on this one. Let's see if you ruin everybody else's. It's fine. Let's go with your picks across the board from BA, AA, women's.
Yeah, I think Competitive Edge wins the AA. Nitro Circus is the team it's theirs to lose in the A. Although, Rock Run, Anarchy, these teams are all going to make a run at them, as well as a AA. Chick-fil-A has an outside chance. But I think it's Competitive Edge, Nitro Circus. In the B, it's Rock Run. On the women's side, wow, what a major the women's are going to have. 4 major teams. Any one of them can win it. Team 24 is the team to beat. Lady SNI is the team on the rise at the major the last couple of years. And La Familia won the D, the C, the B, the A, and now they're trying to win the major. I'm still going to go with Team 24 to win it in the women's major. I'll say Extreme in the A, Extreme out of Minnesota, and I'll go with Classic Glass in the AA, women's AA, and Bellies, Ohio B team, Bellies to win the B.
Okay, all right, so you got the full gamut there. Joel, let's go to you. Let's start. Give us your rundown of picks.
So the women's, I've seen smash it, just murder it all year round, and then right behind them is SNI, and that's always like a nice little somewhat rivalry. Like that is a completely different world. We need to have some females like educators, because every time I'm in there, I thought we were competitive. Like, oh, they're ready to roll. Then you got Smash It has like a Kristen Canal short that she could I'll shortstop almost every other of the elite, other than the elites and the men's, every dude at shortstop, no problem. And then I put Smash It for them, and then AA, bro, I give us a shot. I give us a shot in the way that we're gonna take it one game at a time, and we're gonna go undefeated, and we're gonna mollywop everybody that was sleeping on us. And then you got in the A, you got the A's tricky. The A's tricky because Griner did a pretty good job of putting a giant target on his back. There's no more Walmarts around him. So it's just he's just ready to get pummeled. But like you said, it's theirs to lose. So I'm gonna go with my boy Robbie Fowl. Hopefully they win that A. B, we all know Rock Run's coming out. They're coming out, but hopefully my boy Sightman over here, he comes out and he comes out with a nice little crown on his head. That will be banana sandwich through and through. You come out, you're like, we did it! That's it.
I'll buy you a banana sandwich and I'll wear a crown. Deal.
I'll wear a banana sandwich costume forever, from here on out, every hidden show.
Got it. All right, so that's the rundown from Mr. Joel Sanchez. J Mags, you got a rundown for us?
Start with the women. I know, Team 24, they are the team to beat, but I'm gonna go with them DeMarini girls at S&I squad. And I think they got a tough break last year that play at home, and I think they got a chip on their shoulder, and I think Scott Nappy and Jen and them gonna have them girls ready to rock. So I'm gonna go S&I. The B, I'm gonna go out on the limb, man. I'm gonna go with True, and I think David McDowell, he's got plenty of power. I think he's gonna have a big showing down at the World Series, and they might surprise some people. So I'm gonna go against the grain a little bit and go with True. And of course, I think it's gonna be Nitro. I made that pick last week. And the AA, y'all ready for this? It ain't competitive edge. It ain't that major team. I'm gonna go with Precision. Todd Ankley's gonna have them boys locked in, loaded, and let's go, Precision. Let's go.
Shocker.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it. Switching it up. A little different fuel here. I like it. Leaf, who are your picks?
Well, my rundown on both sides, I'll start with the women's. I'm going to go with Team 24 and my girl Talia winning the major. She's if we had awards for those girls, she would be my Rookie of the Year and MVP. I think in the AA, we're going to go classic last. I'm going to pretty much mirror DW's thoughts here. In the A, it's going to be the Extreme ladies, and in the B, the Bellies. So moving on to the men's, again, very tough one for me. It could go either way, but I'm going to go with Rismondo in October, and I won't be surprised if it's Monster. I'm just going to leave it at that. AA, I'm going to go competitive edge. I think it's theirs to lose. I think it's if it's anybody else besides competitive edge, it's that you can have all the success that you want in the year, but if you don't finish, well, it wasn't a good year. In the A, I'm going to go with my team. I mean, I have to, right? But not just because of that or the shirt I'm wearing, because I think that we're peaking at the right time. I said that in the earlier segment, last segment actually. We put it together here towards the end. We're making a good push, and well, we're just part of the trash that Griner and them got to take out. So we'll see if they can take it out.
Who will you play, Leaf? Who will you play?
Who will we play in the championship? I believe it'll come down to us at Nitro. I honestly do. And if for some reason it doesn't end up that way, I don't care who we play, to be honest with you. But I think in grand fashion, it would only make sense that it comes down to us at Nitro. And in the B,
all right, good.
In the B, it's going to be Rock Run. I mean, who else could you pick besides Rock Run, right? So, and oh, by the way, those dudes have just enough gas in the tank to be right there at the end on the A2. So, not rolling them out by no means. If it ain't Nitro, it's them. But I think Nitro's got too much pop for them, and I know we've got a lot of pop too. So, those are my picks.
All right, good picks. Yeah, I'm going to go with T24 for women's side. And also I want to note, be great future episode of this. We should definitely do get at least some women's major players on here. I think it'd be really cool to do some of that and learn more about it. I wish I got to see more games this year. I got to see some, and I would like to see a lot more. And I'd love to be way more educated on the women's game next year as well. So I'd like to have them sometime on the show. So I'm going to go with T's, though, from what I've seen, and, it's got to dethrone the champ, right? AA, not a shocker. I'm going with competitive edge. Get to go last year, but competitive edge, got to go with it. A, I've actually changed my thoughts from a few weeks ago on A. I'm actually going to go with Anarchy in A. I was kind of thinking I had a little bit of a sleeper a few weeks ago, which is West Point, and I would not be surprised if people slept on them and they stuck into the championship. Just watch, because they certainly have the power to do so, and they have the organization, and Alicia runs a great organization there. I just would not be surprised. So I'm going to go with Anarchy over West Point in the finals of A. And for B, I'm not going with Rock Run, so you guys can all bite me. I'm going Sightman Pure for B. And that's the way it's going to go, and that's the way it's going to be. And we're going to have Joelle in the banana costume. We're going to be playing, it doesn't matter, but we're going to play straight play. I'm going to go within the finals. Straight play, Sightman Pure, mark it down. That's where we're going.
Wow.
There we go. So that's how we do it right there. So,
I like it.
That's where we're going. But I got to tell you guys, it's going to be great. We're going into the World Tournament week start next, or on the week that this is airing. And it's going to be a great one across the board from all the way through major. So I'm looking forward to watching that. So guys, I want to thank everyone for coming on today for the show. Jason Magnum, Joel Sanchez, Leaf Nemo, DW. Thank you for coming on. We're going to go around really quickly here. Just any quick last thoughts here, and then we're going to sign it off here. And just a reminder to everyone, you can like, subscribe, share the show. We love doing it. We love hearing that you're watching. Come up, let us know when if you're at the World Series, wherever it is. I know we always love hearing some love, occasional not so love, but from the podcast, we love hearing it. So come up, make sure you give us a shout. Joel, final thoughts.
Just to everybody in the conference, if you're not playing conference, just know it's everybody that wants to be in your spot, and you have a good old time with everybody. I missed my league ball teams. I miss my military squads. I miss everybody in between, and just make softball bigger, make softball better, and have people that come out to the softball field for the first time have a great time. There's that if it wasn't for DW, my parents wouldn't know I play softball. They're like, is this you in this video? So it's one of those things where it's a nice little family. Yeah, we're competitive, and yeah, we look like we hate each other on the field. But off the field, it's a good thing. We're all part of a nice little group, a nice little accommodation. This community is super duper great. It saves a lot of people. It saves a lot of people's lives, their sanities. There's a lot of mental health issues out there. It's one of those things. So softball's really, really big. Make it better. Make it better than how you found it.
Love it. Love it. Leaf, thank you for being our special, I guess we'll call it special two-part guest panelist. That's what you're going to be here today. That's you'll be forever known as, right? So thank you for coming on. Any final thoughts?
First of all, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity to get in here and mix it up with you guys. It's nice to be able to do something with players that I play with and against off the field. I think this is a part of making the game greater, right? How do you leave the game better than you found it? That's what I'm faced with right now, is that this is the end of the ride for me. The sun is behind my back, and I had a good year. I praise God for that. And I also tore my shoulder up pretty good last weekend, so I'll have an MRI on that, figure out just how bad it was tonight. But I can say this: I'm extremely grateful for all the friendships and the times and the opportunities I've got to share with each and every one of you. J-Mag, you and I go back like 4 flats on the Cadillac, man. I wish you all the best this year as well. I'm a huge hero of yours and a supporter of yours. I love everything you stand for, man. And when I very first saw you at the Smoky one year, I was like, who is this loudmouth with this weird-looking hair? And I got to know your story, and, man, I love you, man. I love everything you stand for. Keep doing what you do. DW, man, you're an icon. You've been doing something above and beyond for this game that nobody else would want to do, would even have the shoulders broad enough to carry. I mean, I know you hear it sometimes in the background. I just want you to know how much I appreciate you and what you're doing. And David, hey, man, welcome to the show, dude. This is your show, but welcome to the show. You're that new energy. This is what this game needs. Somebody who's willing to go out there and bring us all together and put us all on this platform to make our game better. So I tip my hat to you for doing that. So, again, nothing but gratitude and thanks, and I'll see you guys soon.
Appreciate you coming on, Leaf. Appreciate the kind words. J-Mags.
Man, how do I follow that up? You see, worst time, and Nemo just killed it. I can't even say that. Yeah. No, I mean, I want to give a shout out to Joey Daly. I don't know if y'all know who that is, but he's a kid out of Arkansas, and he has MDA. He's got the MDA bat, but he was out there this weekend, rolling around with us, and he got to hang with the team and got a team picture. And just want to give Joey a shout out, and I want to give U-Triple a shout out. I got some big news on the horizon. The next week or two, we're going to announce something real, real big. I think it's going to be great, and it's going to make the game a whole lot better. So shout out to Clay Dickey and U-Trip, and shout out to D. Marini. And it's world time, and let's effing go.
I love it. DW, final thoughts.
Yeah, so we're trying to put together a live hit and sit show the Tuesday before the major. So we're working on that. It'll probably be about 11 o'clock on Facebook, etc. And then the Monday after the major, like Leaf said, leave the game better than you found it. Don't post rumors. wait 2 weeks. We'll post all the rumors. We'll have a hit and sit show about all the rumors on Monday after the major. Just hold your tongue for 2 weeks. That's all you got to do. That's all I'm asking. I want to thank Bernie for producing the show, David for hosting the show, and Eric for creating the agenda, which is a lot of work, and it makes this show go real smooth.
No, I appreciate everyone. This was a great show. I don't really have too many final thoughts. I think you guys all summed it up. I appreciate you guys being here. Getting to create this great content for the softball community is a lot of fun. So I want to wish everyone best of luck in all their world tournaments. We got a lot of people here across the board. We'll see who comes back with rings. We'll see who comes back with stories. We'll see what comes back with that. We'll be reconvening soon. So thank you, my friends. Reminder. Like and subscribe, share, make sure all that good stuff here on Facebook, YouTube. This has been another episode number 14 of the Hit and Sit Conference USSSA show. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Good luck, everybody.
All right, guys. Thank you.